In today's video, we're going to be discussing about the Caro-Kann defense, specifically about some of the strangest yet most common continuations that low-rated players tend to go for. So with that, I'm referring to players around 1200, between 1500 based on their chess.com ratings, and we're going to be going over common openings such as, let's say, the uh, infamous Hillbilly attack, or perhaps how to counter perfectly the suboptimal version of the exchange, where they start with a knight and then they end up taking on d5. Plus, this is quite a cute little variation where a lot of the Caro-Kann players tend to struggle in general, how to deal with the so-called Panov attack. And last but not least, for the final game of this video, we're going to be looking onto how to deal with the advance, which is perhaps one of the most hated replies that White has against the Caro-Kann. So how are we going to do this? I'm going to be walking you through my thinking process, playing against 4 low-rated players, trying to highlight some of the most common mistakes for this rating range. So if you're looking for a quick fix against any of these variations, please feel free to watch the whole video. And without further introduction, let's just dive right into the games. All right, everyone, getting another black game. Trying out the most solid opening of all time. You already know it. The Caro-Kann, and the opponent plays a weird move order. So whenever they do this kind of knight c3, you can either go into 2 knights, classical, or what most of the players in this rating bracket will do, e5, which is just kind of a very goofy way of playing the exchange variation, which is academically starting after d5, ed5. And it's just that the knight on c3 is really misplaced for the variation. Now, that is actually gonna be a very interesting game because I have just finished the Theory chapter and I did cover a lot of new blinds for my upcoming course on the Caro-Kann. So let's see if anything is gonna be there. In case they go for the check, usually blocking with the bishop is easiest, just in general. Expecting him to play either d4 or knight f3. There it is. Gonna start with the knight. He can pin me. It is whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna go knight f6 in that position. So okay, he goes h3. That one, I have to say, might not be included in the course, which is, hey, the nice part while you're watching the channel. You wanna know how to deal with pretty offbeat stuff, I guess. Or you simply like my little accent. So opponent plays bishop to b5. Now, when that happens, he doesn't really have a threat for now. So we're gonna basically castle and finish development. But as you can see, the issue is that the bishop gets locked in. So first, want to get the bishop out, ideally onto g4, but because of h3, that will not be very advisable. And we just do that, get rook on the open file, and then what is the game plan in the exchange? Well, the game plan in the exchange may change when your opponent goes like an absolute monkey playing g4. But in general, assuming he plays normal, you just want to castle short, make sure your king is safe, and then we attack on the queen side because we have pressure thanks to the open file. Now on f4, just gonna play e6, stopping him from trapping my bishop. That would be pretty bad and embarrassing at the same time. I don't know why would you watch a guy who's getting his bishop trapped. So, okay, opponent plays knight f3. Now the downside of f4, as you can probably already imagine, is that it's weakening the e4 square, making it a very juicy outpost. But there's also a downside of the move g4, and that's, I mean, you can play h5. However, h5 95 could be a little bit annoying to deal with, so maybe we have to get rid of this threat first, and we could do it either by playing bishop d6 or by playing knight e4, because whenever knight e5 happens, we have a counter attack. And I think I'm actually just gonna go for that because it may be like a pretty instructive theme to be aware of. You have to now find why is black winning after knight e5. He's just instantly winning. And by the way, I think I recall this in one of my students' games happening, and he did completely miss the move. And if you guys are struggling to find it, point is that this ends up being more of a weakness than an attacking kind of combo. So that allows the queen to join, and look at the beautiful knight on e4. It's just covering perfectly the entry square on f2. Now, white can try to kind of run away, even though I feel like we should have a checkmate there. So you can try to think in advance and come up with a checkmate in that position, because it's actually pretty nice and maybe a little unexpected. So opponent finds the best defense, but let's see, king d3. Did you find the checkmate already? Is he gonna play it out, or is he gonna resign? Yeah, I think he's playing it out. So okay, I'll give you a chance. You can go ahead, try to find it. No, it's not knight b4 bozo, because your opponent will take your goddamn king. I mean, not literally, but it's an illegal move. And please stop taking kings and over the board chess. That's like one of the most painful things to ever watch. Besides the kind of lame handshakes from the top level matches. So, okay. No knight b4. Queen d4 is a good move. Because, you know, it's a nice move and he's forced to go back. Knight g3 is tempting, check, but remember knight g3 can eliminate the bishop. So you want to make sure it's a double check. And double check from Asian Greek means a very powerful move and hard to deal with. So here knight c5 is a double check. Notice how the knight attacks the king and the bishop does the same thing, meaning that white has literally no way to defend, and that just proves to be fatal. So, all right, maybe wondering, fine genius, but if he was not playing 95, there's no way he could possibly win this game. Like, come on, you just got very lucky, you may be thinking. Well, yes and no. Because what else are they supposed to do? And in order to find the truth about any chess position, there's like a little dot here that you can click on, and any patzer just transforms into Magnus Carlsen's second in a second. Well, that didn't make much sense. That was meant, let's say better said, every patzer transforms into Magnus Carlsen's trainer in a second. Second also means like, let's say a player that's helping you with the openings in world championship cycles or just in general. So yeah, turn on that little dot, we understand chess, you know, in like a second. And yeah, black is already still better. Like if he castles, I would have been really considering yeah, a move like bishop d6, stopping knight e5. Turns out the computer also recommends the move that we're never supposed to play, which is f6. Just making fun of Ben Feingold's whole career. Yes. But I don't think I would have played that, so f6 is kind of sketchy. It's definitely true in most of the positions to never play f6 and f3. But if you play the Jobava London or any other opening, sometimes these moves are like really required. So I think that advice is mainly meant for players that are below 800, something like that. I'm talking blitz ratings. So whenever I say these kind of things, guys, I'm talking blitz ratings. Rapid ratings are way different. So 1200 blitz, 1500 rapid. You think like these games are too weak for you, like let's say an advanced already 1500 rapid player, like why would you watch this kind of things? It's no way your opponent make me stay like this. They're completely wrong. 1200 blitz, it's 1500 in rapid. Sorry to say it, that's what it is. Let's not act like, you know, it's such a big deal. So why is that, you may be wondering? Simply because all the grandmasters and strong players are going for blitz games, making the pool much harder to climb. No serious player goes for rapid games in online chess because it just takes too long. So, okay. Hope we cleared the mystery that you never asked about, and you remember this little thingy to bring your queen over and watch out for this nice little mate. Because I swear I saw this in one of my students' games at some point. So with that being said, I think we can really move on to the following game. All right, everybody, getting ourselves a new game, and I have no idea how the heck can we get paired as a 1200 against somebody that's rated 1800. It is what it is. I'm not gonna run away from the challenge. But it's kind of funny. That's the advantage of having your formula on like minus 50 or minus 25 to plus infinite. So anytime you find a guy like this, it's probably gonna crush you because he's way better. But hey, it's a good learning experience. Literally, the best way to improve at chess is playing against people that are stronger than you and trying to learn from them. Opponent goes already for a bit of a weird opening, which I actually just checked this morning for the queries that I'm making on the Caro, the so-called pseudo Panov. Already, first moment where people tend to go wrong, they just recapture, allowing knight c3, gaining a tempo. So ideally, gonna be doing it this way. And now they can either play knight c3, bishop b5, or queen a4 check. Knight c3 is kind of like whatever, just let's have a game. Queen a4 is more interesting. That's what, especially Badur Jobava and Bortnik are playing quite a lot in rapid games. They tend to do very well with this line because the refutation is not very obvious. Important here to play knight d7. The bishop to d7 is tempting, but after queen b3 can be a bit annoying. And the idea is that now with the pawn on d5 playing e6 will really make it awkward. After the e, your pawn structure is very messed up. So we have to go for the fianchetto instead. They're going to play with bishop c4 usually. And then we can start trying to go for a6, b5 type of ideas. So yeah, bishop c4. I think, yeah, I'm trying to understand whether it's better to start with a6. I think it's kind of the same. He's going to probably play d3 or castle now. This is all theory, by the way. So as you can see, people in this rating range are already kind of aware of stuff. Now he's supposed to do queen a3. Okay. b5 is no longer working so well. That's the point. It's a bit of a tricky variation because he can just take and my rook is going to be undefended if I take back. So just got to stick with b6. Gonna play bishop b7. So he castles, bishop b7. And that's kind of the first sort of interesting position in the game, I think. So let's see. I don't think he really has a lot to do besides castling. I mean, sometimes they throw in moves like bishop e3, but okay. I'm gonna accept the free knight, so this is the key. Sometimes players remember 10 moves of theory, they just blunder. Even at 1800 rated games. He's of course not gonna give up because, well, I'm just like a 1200 rated patzer, so he for sure can still outplay me. But man, if you think like these guys are some kind of gods that you cannot beat and they just study chess their whole life in their basement, they're really not. That was just a pretty atrocious blunder that we saw. I can take, but that's improving his pawn structure, so I'm just gonna retreat and play it in a calm fashion. Just no need to rush. Slowly picking up the pawn. The same if you take, he's gonna get the improved structure, but that just leaves the pawn undefended. So taking it in like the best version possible. f5. Not really making any frat. Whenever I see that, usually a frat randomly appears on the board. Just gonna go here. Should be trying that move now, just activating. Having some kind of pressure on e7. Well, knight g5 just going nowhere. Can get rid of his bishop. Can play b5 probably, just introducing ideas of queen b6 check, and if he takes, I'm happy to recap. Can we make a little fun of his queen? Queen can get trapped. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like he doesn't have that many squares left. And, well, that looks like a queen trap to me. Okay, bishop d5. Do you take the queen? Is that the best move? I don't think it is. I think there's something that's slightly better. Oh, never mind. It's not. I was thinking bishop d5, queen takes, threatening mate is better, but he has queen c2 back covering it. Never mind. We have to take the queen there. So yeah, knight, revealing a big secret here. The knight does move backwards. Proven, as you can see. It's like it just happened. If you blinked and missed it, here it is. You know, these knights can also move backwards. If you're like, you know, good friends with them, not all the time. Sometimes, like when you try to make a move like this and you haven't talked to your knight in a while, just .com interface would not let you to put it back. But if you're like constantly looking after your knights, hey, you're gonna usually listen. So you don't want to be underestimating that. Okay, I'm up like a full queen, like literally. You can take my queen off the board. I still have a fine position. This is like how good we are doing. Opponent resigns, and yeah, this is how, you know, it's like a bit of a David and Goliath battle here. But man, I'm telling you guys, 1200s out there, you feel like, I don't know, it's impossible to win a game of chess against somebody that's slightly higher rated than you. Well, just do your opening, do your theory, try to learn your stuff, and you see how these people make like crazy mistakes. Not even like provoked mistake. We played theory, he's like, oh, let me get my knight in there. It's like a weak square. Yeah, of course you bozo. It's hanging knight. I'm gonna take you. Like, what else do you want me to do? So then we just convert the game easily. And I don't think there's really a whole lot to talk about this game, and we can just move on to the following game. Right, everybody, getting another game. Gonna be sticking with the Caro, and we couldn't be making a video without getting to face the Hillbilly attack. Hell yeah! Here we go. They're gonna be taking because they don't really know how to play the Hillbilly. Hillbilly could actually be somewhat annoying if they play Bishop B3. I mean, not really. I just recently looked into it for the refutation that I'm gonna have in the car course. It's not that bad. Spoiler alert, it's not that terrible, but they are just taking, which is technically a worse version of the exchange. Against check, I like to block with a bishop, take back with a knight. Works pretty well according to the statistics. And okay, just gonna develop in normal fashion. You just have to treat the Hillbilly as any other opening. So just develop as you would normally do, and don't try to like really refute it immediately. No. Why is Hillbilly bad? Is just wasting a couple of tempes, and the bishop is not like really ideally placed on the queen side there because it's staring into the pawn. We're not gonna be able to like really kind of checkmate white because of that, but we're just gonna be going for the typical strategy for the exchange. By the way, I can throw in bishop f3, mess up his structure because queen takes allows knight d4. I'm not gonna do that, okay? I'm not trying to win because of this kind of little things that he's blundering. Okay, that's free pawn. You can take that. You should definitely do it in your games. But just because we're trying to get something that's a little bit more instructive, I'm really looking forward to winning if, let's say, they make no mistake. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And I think we get to actually have a pretty instructive theme because here a lot of players may either go rook c8, may go b5. Some students of mine have gone b6. Dude, I will never understand the move b6. We're supposed to go minority attack. Do you have no idea that the pawn can move two squares at once? I don't know. So yeah, a5 pretty bad because he can usually fix you. Rook b8 also decent with b5. But watch out, open up your eyes, because after you finish development, whenever 94 is playable, that is a hell of a move. Also hitting the bishop. Knight does move backwards, yes. I see this mistake like very common. Even players around 1800 tend to miss this regularly. Whenever you play 94, the very next move you wanna go f5 and just reinforce the knight, just being ultra annoying for opponent. And It already looks like we have a very tempting move that, oh boy, this is actually gonna be so nice. Wow. We have such a nice little sequence at this point that, man, it's just like really showcasing the power of the setup. So go ahead, be my guest, try to pause the video. You're gonna find it on your own. I feel like most of you already have kind of gotten the right idea. It's just that maybe it's a little bit harder to calculate the whole thing. And I think it starts with f4, where basically bishop has no squares. We're saying, okay, let's go after it. Now, if knight e4, we have two moves. Either take the bishop or recapture and then take the bishop. Check is not really a problem. We can sidestep. We just win a piece. The more interesting part is when he goes bishop takes, because that's really the kind of only move. What do we do there? You may be wondering, well, that's why you should have been calculating this whole line. The point is to go knight takes on d2, okay? He cannot recapture with the bishop because of the pin. And now because his king is there, sitting on a pretty dangerous diagonal, allows us to sacrifice the rook. With rook f4. Sorry for that silly impersonation. I'm doing my best. Hey, it's not, let's say, my main field of expertise, but hey, we're trying to keep up with the trend. So the point is, queen takes allows bg5, exploiting the fact that these two pieces are going to be on the same diagonal, and we just end up winning the queen. So this is pretty nice. Has to play maybe like queen e3, but we can maybe block, give a check. It is going to be a pretty straightforward win afterwards. So, okay. Opponent will probably try to hang on or just left the game in pain and just makes me trapped in this game. No, apparently he's still fighting. Very good. Go rook e4. Ready to play bishop g5 next. Still now at this point, we're up a piece, so still, because you're up a piece doesn't necessarily mean you gotta go crazy. So wanna keep yeah, a level of decency. I'm gonna go rook c8. Kind of saying, okay, you wanna run away? Go ahead. Gonna give a check. If he starts running away, there's a reason why this was played in the first place. Hey, there's nothing random in chess. I mean, if you're like actually thinking as you play. It's an interesting concept, I know, kind of advanced, pretty difficult, but you may want to give it a try at some point. So, oh, it goes there. By the way, this is still like a pretty nice theme. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it like anyways. Oops. Is that actually a blunder? I don't think it is. Point is, if he takes, we got a lot of checkmate. And if he takes rook e4, we've got de. I got scared of bishop e6, but I got the knight move backwards. So hey, it happens. Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a loose play. Like you don't have to find these kind of tactics, but they are pretty nice and speed up the game. And queen d4, there's nice thing we can trade, and at the end we pick up the rook. So that's kind of the hidden point of the variation. So yeah, this king is getting wide opened. What about to infiltrate or to get an endgame with an extra rook? So can be pretty optimistic about the future. Let's see. Opponent does not really have that many alternatives. I think that's for sure. Castling long would be a move if there was initial square for the king. Sadly, it's not for my opponent, and man, this is getting like really, really rough. Spending some time trying to find a defense. Problem is usually that when your position is bad, all the moves are bad. So you may very well just make a move and hope for the best. At least don't spend all of your time on it. But at this point, yeah, it's just pretty unlucky for him because that's really not even a try of making this somewhat even difficult for me. Like, that's the biggest issue. Okay, like if it's losing and you can make a move, maybe give your opponent a chance to somewhat go wrong, that is good. You should be aiming for those, and they're gonna really save you a lot of positions that you never even imagine that's possible. But sadly, not the case here for him, as yeah, just has no moves, and I really start to believe that he just left the game at this point. Maybe it's again once. It's again another guy that's spending a lot of his time. Now, obviously, we don't really mind this since it's only a 5 minutes game, so it's not that bad. And in fact, he was calculating this kind of complicated sequence that the king moves, maybe he takes, blah blah blah. But in fact, the knight moves backwards. Ultimate life hack in chess. I know, crazy. I bet you already subscribed to the channel because I told you that. So up to pieces in the end game. Not too bad. Gonna infiltrate. Gonna cash in a pawn. Gonna push this guy as far as we can. And basically trying to promote. I'm predicting to fork his rook too. Is that gonna happen? I don't know. Hoping. Could always hope. Let's see. This point we're up so much. We don't care about bishops. We care about promoting this pawn. You can definitely take the time and pause, save your bishop, but hey, it's like got better plans here. Don't wanna waste energy saving the bishop or any kind of nonsense like that. So rook f1, huge threat next in case he takes my bishop, and then he has literally no way to stop the pawn from promoting. So in case he plays rook e1, I've got bishop d2, just like literally forcing him to give up the rook for the pawn. And one is like really trying his hardest to like come up with a defense. I mean, that's good. If I had a student like this, I would definitely appreciate him way more than the guy that hangs a piece and resigns in a second. Like, showing no fighting spirit at all is pretty bad. So spending time there trying to find something, it's definitely for the better. I mean, would have been an interesting concept for him to think more before blundering, but hey, let's not act like these guys are some kind of masters or anything. They're just casual players after all. So we managed to get a free win. Remember, let's say the key way to develop against the Hillbilly and against the exchange in general. Well, this is not the optimal setup, but if you're below 1500, this is easiest. You can literally do this every single time. This is not gonna be the main recommendation in the course, but it is my recommendation for you guys below 1500, just because I'm a good friend. So then, important, whenever you can jump on e4 with a knight, you may very well want to take advantage of that opportunity. Make sure, just like in the London, support it with f5, the very next move after. You should be doing great. Make sure to remember this cute little idea, sacrificing the rook. So, with that being said, I think we can really move on to the following game. Alright everybody, looks like we managed to find ourselves a game, and well, we're doing nothing special, but sticking with the best opening. Going for the Caro-Kann, stepping in the center and simply preparing to take back with the pawn in case white decides to go for the exchange. In this position, they really have three big main options to either play knight c3, to take, or to do what my opponent did, which is simply going for the advance, where as black, you really have two main options, either to go bishop to f5 or to go for my favorite variation, which is, yeah, I think it's the so-called Bodvini Cars. I saw it referred into some books as the Kenkin Arkle variation. Definitely has many names, really irrelevant to know what that is, but important to know how the following positions play out. So opponent just goes for the most common move, c3. They're gonna do that kind of like half of the games. 20% they're gonna take, 20% they're gonna play knight f3, other 10% just doing goofy sidelines around. So c3, most common move. Now, most precise, you wanna develop your knight, and that is a little bit more accurate than starting with taking. We're not afraid of dc because of knight takes e5, and we restore material equality. And opponent, wow, how interesting, playing bishop e3, which is deviating from the uh, well-established path of going knight f3, which allows black to exchange, play bishop g4, and get an easy position. But he plays bishop e3 instead, which, as you can see, it does not allow me develop. I mean, it allows me to play bishop to f5. It does not allow me to play bishop g4, which is kind of annoying for a lot of players. Okay, how are we gonna deal with that? Well, if you wanna play it ultra precise, knight h6 is a move. Do we wanna go for that? Hell no. We wanna stick with simple play. You're like a 1200. Stop trying to play like a reborn Magnus Carlsen, because we both know it's not gonna end well. So playing simple moves, just e6. Still not afraid of dc because of knight e5. I think could have taken now, especially because he played knight e2. So after I take, he no longer has knight c3. So I think I'm just gonna do that now. And there's basically two ways which you can try to develop at this point. So I think what most of the people would do, 97 and then 95. Another argument can be made for bishop b4 97 here, and just get kind of easy development. And yeah, I think that's perhaps the best in the current position. I'm also considering kind of my favorite maneuver to get the knight around and play bishop e7 castle, but I don't think it will be as effective with a knight on d2. Perhaps I'm wrong. I don't know. Wouldn't be the first time. So I'm just gonna stick with simple development. On a3, we're basically taking at this point, giving up the two bishops, which is not ideal, I know, but trying to make the argument that we're gonna get an easy game. We're gonna get castled. We're not like super ambitious in the opening, okay? Especially as a lower rated player, you really want to have achievable goals. Like, okay, let me get castled. Let's try to have no weaknesses and take it from there. Do that every single one of your games, and for sure you will be improving. All right, what can we do next? Well, there's an open file that's waiting for us to be taken, so rook c8 becomes very natural. I know a lot of you may be really tempted to just break with f6, which can be sometimes an idea, but it's not really required here, I feel like. So generally stay away from f6 unless it's obviously good. So gonna continue with the move that I was suggesting. Just very natural moves. You can make these type of ideas without really thinking much. And all right, this is kind of like the first sort of important moment in the game, because we're basically running out of ideas a little. There's definitely like a tempting move. I don't know if you guys spotted that, but the b3 square is a little low. So that makes me wanna, stick a knight there if possible, just trying to get that knight onto b3 would be pretty juicy. By the way, huge mistake, rook c1 there. Can you spot why? I mean, for many reasons, but that's just, I think, losing the game on the spot. I'm keeping this tension. Common mistake that lower rated players tend to do, they would just like immediately get rid of the tension, and if you do that, then the queen covers b3, not a problem. That's just chilling for white. So I'm keeping the tension. Lower rated players tend to prematurely release the tension, so don't want to do that. Nobody likes that. So there is this move that, okay, it's not necessarily winning the game, but it definitely will raise an eyebrow, let's say. Hopefully. Kind of tough these days, but who knows? All right. Now, what do we do? Opponent defends against that. Got unlucky. Chess is hard. They always see our threats. We're not gonna win because of a one mover. What else can we do? I don't know, man. It's been a struggle. I've been playing this game for a long time and it's always been like that. It's really rigged. Okay, we'll try queen b6. Try one more time. Now, while this could potentially be threatening takes in queen b2, it also had ideas to, just develop the queen and improve our position. So on b4, can definitely go back, but do you think we did all that to go back? No, that would be a huge waste of time. So instead, I want to go knight c4. What is this called on c4? It is a hole, but more so, I like to academically call it an outpost. So what is the point with the outpost, genius? You may be wondering. So thing with the outpost is that it is a square onto an open file where none of your opponents can attack it. So you see, like, these pawns has been kind of overpushed, and he would love to get this pawn back and play b3, hit the knight, as an example. We could take that here, but I mean, you get it. So the nice thing about the outpost is that it's gonna be hard for them to get rid of your pieces. Plus, whenever they do, like imagine bishop c4 gets played, you also have the option of taking with a pawn, and that will give us a pretty fast pawn, baby. So that would be nice. Okay, anyways, opponent playing bishop to g5, just kind of ignoring all my speech. That's fine. Okay, he's just attacking the knight. How do we deal with it? Definitely knight c6 comes to mind, but then you gotta check whether bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Do we have anything there? You really need to stop there and ask yourself, do we have anything there? And I think we do. Now it's up to you guys to try to guess what it is. Also hinting towards knight takes on d4 ideas. And, well, opponent can definitely take on f5, which I've got to admit, I did overlook in the first place. It's just because my eyes were really focused on the d4 pawn. So he was. That's why I bet he didn't even consider it. Yeah, I think we still don't care about the fact that we're going to get like sort of double pawns there. We are just going to be going for the pawn grab at this point. We're going to be taking, take back with a queen, bishop takes. Yeah, just don't really mind. E5 pawn will be pretty hard for him to protect. Yeah. Oh, he takes that one instead. Now, we have many ways of recapturing. Which one do you guys think is best? I think, even though generally it's really nice to exchange a lot of pieces, taking with a pawn might be best in this very specific situation because I feel like the rook does a great job supporting the pawn. Plus, we got all kinds of bishop d3 ideas. I just feel like the pawn is a little bit faster if we keep the queens on the board. Also, one thing that needs to be mentioned is that we have opposite colored bishops on the board, which is always kind of increasing the drawing chances for the defensive side. I'm just gonna defend against rook d1 by counter-attacking my opponent's queen. Hopefully he's not gonna see. Know that it's gonna be a disaster since my own queen will be exposed, but hey, we do have another threat other than this. So maybe you can try to pause the video and find it on your own. I don't expect anybody to stay with a queen there. I mean, they're either gonna move it somewhere. I just don't think people in this rating range have enough confidence to leave their queen hanging, or at least not on purpose. So, not trash talking this elo, just trying to give you some useful information. You do what you want with that. Queen to e3, offering the queen trade. Think we keep. Do you guys want to like see how the end game plays out? Endgame's kind of dry, so I think he really has good drawing chances in the endgame. So I'm gonna go Queen D5, saying that Queen A7 we have Queen E5. So yeah. By the way, I hope we still play 5 and 5 increments. So yeah, it is increment. So means we're not gonna get flagged. Man, it's been a while since we recorded the video, so I wasn't even familiar what the time control we're playing anymore. But looks like everything is good. Just gonna sidestep. Bishop to d6 is a move that I would be expecting. And now I'm gonna play a move that if I give you 10 guesses, you're still not gonna find it. Is it such a good move? Probably not. So this is a threat. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm no longer gonna do that, okay? I'm allowed to. It's my channel. I can do what I want. Even though I love you guys, I read the comments. But really, I'm gonna do that move next if it's still a possibility. So, okay, let's see. Just goes rook c1. Any threats? Gotta check rook d3. Everything is covered, so not a problem. And the move was f5. Now, probably opponent does not know about the possibility of en passant, but anyways, that wouldn't be great. Okay, f4, instantly played. I feel like with this, we're making a little bit of progress. Okay, now I'm just gonna try to exchange queens. It's not really the most consistent way of playing after declining the queen trade many times, but I feel like including these moves was kind of useful for us. Plus, I don't know, maybe we had the option of going h6, king h7, rook jg5 and play for an attack. I just couldn't really figure it out with 10 seconds whether that's gonna be dangerous enough. So I choose to go for a more practical move, I like to think, which means, okay, we're gonna trade queens. What is that gonna do? We're gonna be able to play a number of moves quickly, catch up on the time, maybe get to 30 seconds, somewhere around that. And then we have more time to think and perhaps take more risky decisions. So chess, it's basically about adapting. So no matter whether you're playing longer games, shorter games, you will have to do this kind of practical decisions at some point. Whether it's on the board, so like actually, you know, it's a chess move, or let's say a decision that you have to take into consideration the amount of time that you have left on the clock. Also, sometimes maybe if you notice that your opponent does not have that much time on the clock, you can perhaps afford to play a little bit more aggressive, just with the idea that because he is low on time, it will be almost impossible for him to come up with a defense. So who cares if, you know, the computer can defend if, practically speaking, your opponent has no chance. For now, though, as a beginner, these are more kind of side things. You don't have to worry about subtle bluffs or ideas like that, you know, the psychology of chess and this kind of stuff. No. Dude, literally stop hanging your queen. That's what you need to do. You just keep watching hundreds of YouTube videos trying to get better. I'm telling you, like, see, it's hanging rook. You just need to stop hanging your pieces. See, he panicked immediately. It's like he got bored. He played rook beyond. I was like, oh, the rook. He instantly played there. Okay, fine. Gonna sidestep. Now I'm playing a little bit risky. I'm not taking his rook. I'm just trying to show you that the bishop could actually be stronger than the rook when it's so dominant. So, yeah. I want to do this. It's going to be checkmating time. Now, one thing that I really need to mention after opponent flagged. We have opposite colored bishops on the board. Yeah. I know I'm repeating myself. I mentioned this earlier. But okay, the situation changed. So it's really important to remember the context in which opposite colored bishops were mentioned. Because earlier, I was talking about them when I was really expecting to get the queens off the board. So endgames are kind of dull. But with the queens on the board, the opposite colored bishops are really helping the side that is having the initiative. So oftentimes it will just feel like you're attacking with an extra piece, so you're completely winning. Just Ask yourself, this bishop on d6, oh, so nice, you know, on d6, on the outpost, blah, blah, blah. But what is the bishop doing? This is like literally you at work, 8 hours, 4 hours of them you play chess. It's like bishop on d6, doing nothing, just chilling. Okay, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's not the most productive thing ever. So, uh, yeah, he's just basically doing nothing. He's down a piece. This guy, absolute king, top G on e4, attacking the enemy king, and boom, this was about to happen. So opponent flagged. Now, I just want to check whether my little inaccuracy of playing knight c6 was that bad. Yeah, man, knight c6 was pretty awful. I mean, you can see the eval not changing by a lot. Okay, I don't know why I have 100 variations in the first place here. Oh, sorry guys, my camera kind of moved. Oh, oh, never mind. Yeah, I've got a camera that's kind of moving. Not sure if you noticed, and it will sometimes like really piss me off. I don't know how to lock it, so hopefully that wasn't too weird on the actual game. But yeah, what I was trying to say, so it's like minus 0.5 if you, I mean, this weaker engine believes that, okay, I would have played rook f8. That's a common sense decent move. But this engine says taking and then queen d8 is the best move. So self-pinning. Come on. I think queen c7 just makes way more sense. And black is just better because we've got the knight on the outpost. So we can leave it as that. But yeah, knight c6 is just kind of even apparently. If he finds bishop takes and then in case he continues with something like rook fd1, I was asking myself, yeah, there is h6. Doesn't have a great square for the bishop, needs to go kind of back. I'm wondering if we're in time with knight e8, knight e6. Usually that would be a 6 square for the knight. Yeah, so apparently knight h4 is slightly annoying. Need to not forget about that. Yeah, like if you could teleport your knight to e6, maybe play f4, that is just an amazing square for the knight. But yeah, I don't think we're like really in time here, it seems. And I don't know why the computer really wants to play a move like knight e7. I don't quite get it. Like, what is that even threatening? So let's say he does nothing. This is, by the way, a thing that you can usually do if you don't understand what the computer wants. You can make like a sort of random move and see how he wants to proceed. So, okay, knight e3, what if he takes this way? Oh, so knight e7, you take and you just infiltrate. Does that make sense? Yeah, so knight e7, making room for the rook, and if he's not careful, you just take. If he takes with the queen, you infiltrate this way. If he takes with the pawn, you infiltrate that way. So yeah, that was kind of the point of this move. Should you be working with a computer too much as a low rate player? Not at all. Oh, god damn it, this camera. All right, I'm gonna fix it after the game. I'm not gonna worry about it now. But yeah, point is, you really don't want to spend a lot of time trying to understand what the computer says. So the only kind of productive way that you can use the computer, like let's say the game review on chess.com or whatever computer in general, you just want to look for a quick blunder check. So you played your game, make sure to do the analysis, like spend around 3 minutes on it. So check your opening with your courses, file, maybe whatever you have, some notes. Check if opening was what you had in mind. And then just look where the evaluation like really turns around. So just see if there was any blunder made, anything missed, any queen hanging. So you're gonna really learn from those, potential tactics that were missed. So you know what to expect for the next game. So yeah, after 96 he didn't take, and then yeah, after we got the pawn on d4, it is basically just completely winning position, I would say. Remember in the opening, if you really want to be a Caro-Kann wizard, you can play the move knight h6. However, it's really move by move stuff. So in my course that I'm we're making actually solid progress on it. It might be, yeah, kind of all the files might be ready in a week or two, and expecting to publish it in mid-May, by the way, guys. If you missed the update on the channel, in case anybody was wondering, just saying. I'm gonna be focusing on the bishop f5 type of lines whenever they do weird stuff like this, so we just keep it simple. I'm really against the kind of, okay, good lines, but when they are not necessary, I like to stay away from them. But hey, knight a6 is a cool move there, because bishop takes will lose a tempo, and white does not have a great way to defend against queen b6 type of ideas. So there is that with the opening theory. So I think we can just move on to the following game.